Everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and we're in part 2 of the Troll. We're in the 3.5 Monster Manual, and let's just take a look at that Troll real quick. There's a stat block, and there's the Troll. That's the Troll in the book, and here's the Troll we've made, and you can't see him super well in this. He's all black. So let's start with correcting the color. I'm going to get some Arbor Green here, and a damp brush. Let's get them all greened and dark green. And it's okay if we miss a little bit and some black showing through. I think it'll be okay. We're not going for perfection here. I'm a lazy painter and you can be too. Let's see if we can make this troll look decent though. Huh? Let's try. We're getting close to the end of the monster manual. Let's try to knock out some bangers for these last few, right? Trolls, trolls, trolls in the dungeon. Uh-oh, it's Harry Potter the musical. Trolls in the dungeon. There are trolls in the dungeon. Someone call Snape. This is kind of one of those iconic D&D enemies. I'm glad this one's shaped okay and not super doofy, because we don't want to do the iconic ones bad for sure. And we might as well, like I said, try to knock out some bangers on these last ones. Let's really just, try to make them look good. The brush is going to need some moisture because this paint's not real soupy. It's kind of thick. So nice today. It's a little warmer than it's been, so I'm pretty happy about that. We gotta stop telling people they're artists. Let me tell you why. I've always thought encouraging people to be artistic and to pursue their talents was a good thing. But I am encountering so many people claiming to be artists and wanting to be paid for stuff that is subpar because too many people have encouraged them and not given them enough positive, constructive criticism to know where they're failing. I don't consider myself to be any kind of grand artist or anything. I'm a dude in my basement painting miniatures. And I don't expect you to pay me $1 million to do it for you. I'm giving a guy a miniature I made for him for free today because I enjoyed doing it and I think he'll enjoy the miniature. Don't just sit and tell people they're good and not give them any constructive criticism to improve, because you should see what some of these artists that are subpar as shit are trying to charge me for the work in the book. I mean, their work is not even where I would even want it in my book, and they're talking about, so much per image. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I can do it all myself at a better quality than that, and I'm not even an artist. Like, come on, people. What is this shit? So I realize what it is, and it's a lot of it's a much younger generation than myself, unfortunately. People don't get enough criticism. They think they're so good at everything, and they want more than they're worth. I'm not saying it didn't take you 5 hours to do something, but what I am saying is it was probably minimum wage quality and not master artisan quality. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying not to congratulate people on doing a good job or improving from their last work. Do that, yes, by all means. But let's stop pumping everybody up like they're great, because we're creating a pandemic of stupidity. And in the world where you're trying to create products and do business and share stuff with people, you can't have that. You need people that can be reliable and do a good job. right, let's take a look at my subpar. Speaking of subpar, my subpar troll at this point. There we go. He's looking grand. Grand. All right, let's get a dry brush. I'm going to use a cheap dollar store makeup brush, something like this. You use what you have. If you're one of those fancy, highfalutin people that have expensive stuff, use that. I'm going to use this Ivy green color for this undercoat to kind of break up his base coat here to, make it look more interesting. So I'm going to come here, and I'm not hitting every spot. I'm just kind of painting him roughly with it and giving him some different look. I'm using way too much paint now, so I'm going to hit a little softer. And I have to come back on some of these other areas because it's so drastic. We could go back, rebase coat it, or strip it down, but I'll be honest with you, stripping down the miniatures like this is really not worth it. And it's a lot of work because you will destroy some of the baking soda glue stuff trying to strip these. So just don't. Okay. And once you're happy with where you've delineated the base coat to look like different tones, I don't know if that's the right word there, delineate. I think it is. Take a look at your work and see if you like it. Okay. I'm pretty pleased. I think we got where we want them to be. So I'm going to get my hot air gun on him. And I'm going to grab a medium paint called Kelly Green. But first I'm going to dry him off a little bit. All right. Same brush I had. Kelly Green. Get it all in the brush. Wipe off your excess and come back and start touching them up and hitting some of the bumps and textures. You don't want to go overboard with this one, but you want to be able to see what's going on pretty good. If you need a little more paint, try to see if you can grab it without putting it back in the thing, because we're not trying to do anything drastic with this coat. This is just our coat where we're starting to find detail and stuff real nice. Okay. Now you can really kind of start to see the look of him a little better. Now I'm going to get a lighter color. This is called Palm Leaf. I'm just doing that same thing again, but this is light. Okay. I'm focusing more on the high areas that are exposed and less on the areas that are in the shadows underneath. But that's a personal preference. You don't have to do that. I want to make sure I get his feet good because I didn't do good with that with the undercoat. All right. Okay. Something like that. I'm going to get in his neck a little bit there. Clean that up some. Okay. Now we want to get that, and we want to leave what's in our brush, okay? That's important. And we're going to get a really light color called Limeade, and this is super light and maybe even too light for what we're doing here. We're going to get a tiny bit of that, and we're going to mix it right on top of that. Okay. You want to make sure there's very little coming off at that point. See how I'm just discoloring the paper a little bit? And you want to come up and hit some of your high spots. Top of the knees a little bit. Across his shoulders and tops of his arms. A little bit on his butt there. And his top of his chest. I'm hitting the bottom of his chest a little bit, and I didn't really want to, but that's okay. Okay. All right. You're done with that brush for now. So let's go and say that this guy's probably got some pocks and warts and stuff. So I'm going to get a small brush, a size 1 brush. I'm going to get a reddish brown color, orangish brown color. That's just called chestnut. And what I'm going to do with this is on some of these bumps, I'm just going to give them a little accent. And this brush is just wet, damp from my mouth, touching my mouth, not painted or not dipped in water. And I'm just going to get some little weird spots that are sticking up on him and turn those into warts and stuff. Maybe I'll get a knuckle there. And I was going to do this with 2 different colors, but I'm looking at it, I'm thinking 1 should be sufficient to show that he's got warts and bumps. I don't think I need to do 2. And how much effort you want to put into this is up to you. But I'm having fun doing it. It's kind of soothing and nice, so I'm going to keep doing it until I feel like I've gone too far or beyond too far. Okay. That's just going to give some nice sticky-outy difference in color. Then I'm going to get that same brush. And my favorite color in the whole world, pavement. I'm going to get some water. And some pavement. I'm going to drag that through his hair carefully. Not getting it on my model. Not getting it on his flesh, just on the hair. I'm going to dirty that hair up and make it look gray. I'm fairly happy with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry that brush off some and get the moisture out of it. I'm going to get just gray with no water in it. I'm just going to do his eyebrows real easy. Okay. Now, I'm washing that brush and I'm getting my small brush, but first we're going to hit him with some air. I'm going to get a tiny brush and I'm going to get some off-white paint. I'm getting, this is actually skeleton bone. You can kind of guess it's a tan color. I'm going to get in here with that and do his eyes. And I'm going to get that palm leaf color. And I'm going to clean up his eyebrows. I'm going to hit his cheeks with it a little bit. And along the tip of his nose. I'm just going to lighten that up a little bit. I'm going to do the tops of his ears up to the points. And I'm pretty happy with that. Now we're going to get that same light color and do his mouth. I'm just dragging a really thin line there so you can see he has a mouth. Okay. Putting that away. I'm getting a crappy brush. Something with plastic bristles that I can do some dry brushing with. I'm going to get my dark blue gray and do a little bit of a dry brush on that hair. And I say a little bit. That might be too light or too dark. Hold on. I have a little bit of that on my brush. And I'm going to steal a little bit of this elephant gray. I'm going to make a mid-tone to do the hair. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing there. I'm just making a mid-tone of gray to dry brush his hair with to give it a little more attention. I'm just going to drag that lightly across in some spots. Like that. Okay. Careful, careful. Something like that. So it's a little more noticeable. Now I want to do a red dot on each of those eyes. I probably should have done that immediately when I did the eyes. But I forgot to, so I'm going to take this red. If you notice, I have a thing. A lot of my bad guy monsters have red eyes. It's because it usually contrasts with their color well enough that you can see it easily. Sometimes I gotta turn them upside down to get that. Can you see them? They're alright, just little red dots in there. Alright. I'm pretty happy with them. Let's do the base. Considering I didn't even buy that hero click, that was a gift from my friend Sam, I feel like I really scored. Thanks, Sam. You saved the day, dude. Alright, make sure your brush is a little bit damp, but not overly wet. Get your dark paint. I'm using burnt umber from, well, all the paint we used today, except for the eyes and the mouth, were Walmart paint. You know, just apple barrel paint from Walmart. Nothing spectacular, and that's what I'm still using now. You could go out and spend money to use miniature paints on these, but you're just trying to get a proxy on your table so that you have the enemies you need for a budget price. So I would say taking the time to make a budget miniature and you're buying craft miniature paints for it seems a little counterproductive in most cases. If you already have it, that's one thing. But if you're buying proxies and you can afford good miniature paint, I would recommend that you just buy if you can afford the good miniature paint, just buy miniatures. It's you know, Dungeon Swag minis, hell, you can get beautiful miniatures for dirt cheap. I mean, yeah, that's my company, but there's other companies out there too. Cool Minis or Not has tons of board games with cheap miniatures in them, and they're really high quality, good minis. They're not as detailed as the Dungeon Swag minis, but they're nice minis. They're sturdy and good looking. There's tons of options out there. I just bought my son a board game with 80 miniatures in it and buildings and everything. Well, I didn't. My friend Santa Claus did, but you know what I mean. Yes, he's like a Ken doll because my miniatures are PG-13. Because kids go in my D&D room. Before I finish that base up, let's take a look at him next to a standard size mini. If he were standing up all the way tall, he'd probably be a little bit taller than 9 foot, I would guess. You know, because that's like the halfway mark there. So, you know, and he's crouched down pretty good. But it's close enough, you know, and it looks okay. Let's get a crappy brush and do some variation on that base. I'm going to use a really light color that I normally wouldn't use for this, Territorial Beige. And get a dab of that on my brush. And make that look like dirt. Okay, how are you thinking? Decent, right? Works. Let's get some flock on there and call it a win. Now, I do my flock the same way every time, for those of you that know. Not every time, but most of the time. And I just want a basic forest land, woodland, along the side of the road, maybe in a swamp if need be, kind of generic flock scheme. So I'm just going to use some clear glue. And I'm going to get it smeared around in different positions on here to create pieces where there's greenery and foliage. And I use the same kind of cheapy flock all the time for this. You can get fancy if you want and add tufts of grass or bushes or whatever. And honestly, on this miniature, I wouldn't mind putting a little bush, so maybe I will. And this is 15 or 20-year-old Woodland Scenics. Really light flock. I'm not sure how old this is. It's pretty damn old. Yep. It's just not... It's a little chilly in here. It's probably not helping. I think I would like a little bush of some sort on here. So let's see what I got to play with. And I have some plastic stuff. I don't think any of that would look phenomenal. No, I don't think so. I could do some of this, like something like that. That might look okay. That's just Spanish moss. Synthetic, you know, artificial Spanish moss, not the real stuff. So I'm going to come over here on the base, find where I want to put that. I'm going to do a dab of super glue there. I'm going to lay that across the top of that super glue and push it down some. And I'm just going to try to soak some super glue in there to make it sturdy and make sure it never moves again when it dries. All right. Now, when I clear coat that with my ×2 matte primer, it won't be shiny. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell icon if you could. That'd help me out enormously. Leave comments, stuff like that. Take it to some of your Facebook groups. Maybe some of you guys are in some of those snooty cool guy groups that I'm not in. Go in there and show it. I don't like to show my stuff. I'm kind of embarrassed, but if you guys thought it was good enough to share with those people, I would love that. I can't help but notice my channel's not growing as fast as people that I see putting in less effort than I do. So either that I'm just not very likable, or that my work's not very good, or that I'm not hitting the right algorithms or being exposed to the right people. It's one of those problems, and I'm willing to accept the fate that it could be my very own fault. So anyways, join the Discord. Show us what you're crafting, what you're making, what you're working on. We'd love to see it. And buy some miniatures from us on the website. Not the ones I'm making here, but our real miniatures, the Dungeon Swag miniatures. There's a discount code for 25% off the first loot crate. We do a loot crate service where you get armies to fill your table every month. You get miniatures like a box of orcs, a box of demons, whatever it may be. Check us out on that. I think our prices are far more competitive than the big corporations are, and we're trying to be fair about it. So support us, please. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, as we're almost finished with the Monster Manual.